So it's Kathryn, Marianne and Tom here from UK Coaching, and we're going to talk to you about exploring what voice means when coaching children. Marianne, Kathryn, what are you thinking about?
I'll kick off then. When I think about exploring voice, I'm thinking about how we create a space for children to feel comfortable enough to be themselves, to feel safe, to communicate with us and tell us what's going on for them. For them to feel that that it's a space for them to be nurtured in and to grow in and to essentially feel safe in mostly. So I'm thinking about how we set up our environments so that the children feel that they can be authentically themselves.
Yeah, it's really important that we can create a safe space for them. They can trust the people they're working with, whether it's the coaches or the other participants in the session. So they can feel that they are a part of the session and they can chat and talk and be themselves as well as enjoying the activities they're doing.
I think, sorry, Thomas, before, one of the things as well is creating, so it's safe for each other, because quite often the most, maybe I wouldn't use the word scary, but what the children are most concerned about actually are the other children in the session and how they interact with them. So it's recognizing that it's not just their relationship with us as a coach, but the way in which we support their relationship with the other children in that session, that they feel safe as well with the other children and that they can really thrive in their company.
Effectively, that's their peers. So they've got some friendships to make, or they may be concerned about what others feel about them. So yeah, that's a lot of building relationships with their coaches, but also with the other people in their class, whether that's new people coming in or people that have been there quite a long time. So it's a whole different dynamic in itself.
Just thinking about how a coach would almost be a broker in the relationship for children with other children, and like what could they do to encourage those friendships to kind of to be made and for those connections to be made?
Oh, I guess one of the first things they could do is set up things when children are actually encouraged to support each other and to pay attention to each other rather than compete internally. So just for a coach to think about how they set up the rules of their activities. Are they internally competitive or are they supportive of each other? Be a good place to start.
Yeah, I do a lot of activities within my coaching that are supportive of each other. So that may be that they work in pairs or small groups to do the physical activity, some sort of physical activity, or they have a problem to solve and they need to work together. It may even mean going to collect certain bits of equipment so we can all play and do the activity that we're doing. So they have to work together to collect it all, so we can create the circuit of activities that we're going to do. That could involve their choice of what they collect. I might just say, right, I need you to collect certain blocks and certain mats for us to put the activity together. But it's their choice then for what they collect and how they transport it over to the area that we're doing it in. Another thing I do is I might get them to start of the session, or I'll say, right, I want you to all to pay attention to everybody in your session today. Maybe invite your friend or new person that's in the class. At the end, I'm going to ask you, what did the rest of your team do really well today? Or what are you proud of another member of the team today? So then they start to give feedback to each other. That may be, something they could work on next time. I thought they did this really well today, but actually next time they could do that. And they start to give some feedback to each other. And then they're also being kind and saying nice things to each other as well. That they thought they were really proud of their teammate because they did whatever.
Yeah, really like that. And I think that's kind of planting seeds where, okay, within our practices, that children are learning some sport-specific skills and movements and things, but we're also helping them develop other skills that are going to help them in lots of different parts of their lives. When they come into your practice and they've had practice at making friends and collaborating with someone else, that's priceless, really.
Yeah, they do really seem to enjoy that as well. And at the end of the session, if we bring everyone back together and we do that bit of the conversation where they can feedback to one another, that makes them really excited at the end of the session to come back the next session to do it again. Sometimes they ask, oh, can we do that thing again? Can we put this in partners where we have to watch each other and give feedback again? They've asked me a few times to do that.
I think as well, it's recognizing that some children might not be as confident to have a voice, maybe just because of, their experiences within their home life or school or other things like that some children are more confident and to be engaged than others. So finding ways, and I love Kathryn gave an example of, having gossip corner or creating spaces where children can interact with each other. An example, a friend of ours, Alex Last, you talked about having a little furry octopus that the children could come in and they could flip and make it a happy face or a sad face. So are there ways in which you can safely start to draw out the voice of maybe the children who would not feel comfortable? They haven't really experienced having a voice in as much in other spaces. And in your classes, in your environment, you can actually really, have a massive impact on those children. So being creative in ways to have a check-in, being creative in, or giving yourself space for a time out part of the way through a session and just think, which children have I engaged with? Which children am I seeing having a voice? And a really key one for me was, are they happy? Are people happy to ask to do things like, go to the toilet or have a break or, because if they're not asking that, it's telling me that somehow that environment's not feeling safe enough for them to have a voice. So to start asking myself some questions that tell me how comfortable, and sometimes if they're being a bit naughty, Snoopy squeaking, if they're being a bit naughty or if they're creative, actually I want a little bit of that, but then I want to try and make sure that's used to communicate that maybe the board or they want to do something different, but I don't want to stamp it out, because there's a really fine line between what looks like nice, tidy obedience and what actually is a suppressed voice.
I think there's something really magical if you can create an environment as a coach where the children can really be themselves. And then your role isn't necessarily the person to tell them what to do, which maybe is a traditional way to go and coach, but you can be that alongside her, so you can be with the children in the session, and almost that view of the world where you can help the children understand how they can use you as a resource as a coach. So they can ask you for help, they can share with you what they need from you when things are going well or when things are going badly. It's easier said than done though. It takes a bit of repetition and frequency and the building of trust and relationships to get to the point where children feel comfortable doing that, because I don't necessarily think that they would experience that in all the different activities and parts of their lives.
Yeah, the first time I ever did Gossip Corner, my Gossip Corner idea, how it evolved, I started because I took the lead on a new class, and my aim was just to get to know some of the children. So the children came a little bit early, some of them arrived a little bit early to their class. So we spent a little bit of time just having a chat, finding out what was going on in their day, what have they done before they got to the session, with the simple aim of just getting to know them, trying to get them to maybe how much they'd speak to me, what they'd say to me, those sorts of things. It started off quite quiet, but as the weeks went on, they wanted to speak more and more every single week. It started off with maybe 3 people wanted to tell me everything, little things, and by the end, they all now just want to tell me everything all the time. I don't even have to start it off. It just evolves now, and they've taken it all into their own. And they now know as well that it's this period of time, and now we need to sort of move on with the session. And otherwise, they would be more than happy to chat to me for quite a long time.
What I wonder what that's done for the overall environment by you kind of injecting Gossip Corner. What other ripple effects has it had?
It's really affected how it's brought some of the more quiet participants out of themselves. It's built the relationship with me in massively. So they come in now and they give me high five, or the first thing they do is want to see where I am, and they'll come and talk to me. If I'm with another class and I haven't finished that class, I'm coming over to then I'll move over to their class. They want to know what's going on. Can they come and help me with that? They also want to help now as well with other things that I'm doing, and also being more part of the club as well. They want to support the club as well. So I've managed to create many sport leaders as well, in a way. They want to help in bigger ways, and just transform the club in quite a big way from a little conversation.